A long time ago, 3 years later, in a galaxy far, far away, the Empire Strikes Back.
Da-da-da.
One of the few sequels in film history that actually surpassed the original.
Yeah.
It did. And
Along with Bad Santa 2 and Gremlins 2.
yeah, and
If there's any more, leave it in the comments.
one of the most anticipated films, and it did not disappoint. It was great. It is
Epic. The best of all of them.
It is, yeah, it is generally considered to be the best film of the series, which is for lots of reasons. It is the best one.
And no, not because of Boba Fett.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, Boba Fett was featured, and I mean, everybody went nuts over this character that was so mysterious and cool looking, which he was. He was cool looking.
Now, I have a question for you. Here we go before we even... Would you have thought it cooler if he was all white and was like a sergeant stormtrooper or something like that, a leader of the stormtrooper, like he was designed originally in the story and...
No, that would be lame.
Okay.
You know,
No, I'm just
no,
asking.
I loved him in his kind of beat up, dinged up armor and how it was all customized with the little symbols all over it and things that you didn't need to know what they were. They just,
were there.
but the little details on it, you know, added to it. And, Boba Fett should not have been some elite stormtrooper. No, God, no. He was a bounty hunter being hired along with the other bounty hunters that Vader was resorting to because they were having such a hard time catching up with Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon.
All right, I have another question. What do you think about the controversy of the Kenner toys, Zuckuss and Forlom, being misnamed?
How were they misnamed?
Because Zuckuss was named the robot,
Oh,
and Forlom was named the bug-eyed guy.
and that went out on the packaging?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, you know, mistakes happen.
But
That was a big one.
Yeah.
Somebody should have caught that. Because, Forlom was the droid, because 4LOM stands for love of money.
oh, look at that. Well, zounds, huh?
And, he's a bounty hunter droid, and he's in it for the money.
Who isn't these days, right?
Another little piece of useless trivia for you
That
there.
is not useless trivia, sir. That is entertaining and fun.
So really, it should be pronounced 4LOM, not Forlom.
All right.
Kind of like C3PO. It should be all technically,
Yeah.
even though we've never heard it pronounced in like any context.
Yeah.
But the bounty hunter and Dengar, they were great. And Bosk, I love that we've seen Trandoshans in some of the more recent Disney stuff, which may or may not have been the greatest Star Wars content, but Trandoshans have made appearances. Bosk was one.
Right.
And really just the whole movie.
What about IG-88?
Oh, yeah, everybody wanted to see one of them in action, and we finally got one in The Mandalorian, and it was great.
Right.
So, yeah, everybody was curious about this IG-88 assassin droid, and when you get the figure, it's not even
It's lame.
articulated at all. The legs don't bend, the elbows don't
No.
bend. It's like, what would this droid really do
It was a stick, yeah.
if you had to face one, and you see it happen in Mando, and
Finally, yeah.
that was a fanboy's,
Yeah.
that was, and it was really well done and cool. Back when Mando was still being really well done and cool. Yeah, I said it. But Empire though, and Master Yoda, and
Hold on.
Dagobah, and all of that.
Not just yet. Let's go to Hoth.
Oh well, yeah, the whole opening on Hoth. It was
the
great.
Ralph McQuarrie drawing shows that there's grass in caves, which doesn't make sense scientifically, but
Well, there might have been some
Yeah, who knows?
thermal heat enough
and that's what
conditions that
and
grass
that's what
could
the
grow.
Tauntauns were chewing on.
Yeah.
Now my question has always been, since they're wild fucking animals, and I lived on a farm, how did they catch those bastards and tame them to ride them? sort of like the dewbacks and all the other creatures.
Well, yeah, and
Were they-
if they are what indigenous creatures to Hoth,
yeah,
how long were they there to be able to
Like, you know,
train him and domesticate him like that?
exactly.
If they were truly like wild creatures and not already domesticated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. Or did they bring them with them from somewhere else?
It
But
says they're indigenous.
No, they're from Hoth, and yeah. Anyway,
So I have a question. That's the stuff that I think about. I'm like, well, no, I bet that was a real pain in the ass to domesticate. And how the hell? And at least they kind of brought it up in the Mandalorian again. Those little
the blurgs.
yeah.
Yeah, when Mando had to learn to ride a blurg.
Yeah. So it's things like that. It's not doesn't diminish the movie, but it's something you got to think on because then you got that damn Wampa Wampa
Yeah.
fucking killing things. So
Well, you would think that Tauntaun would most likely be prey to a Wampa, and they would they would eat him. But of course, being with the rebels, they were safer.
yeah.
Whatever. But and who knows what other life is on that snowy planet?
Right.
We only saw what we saw.
Because there's those.
But the aerial shots going over the snowy mountaintops and
awesome.
oh, dude, especially in the theater. Again, first time I saw it, 1980.
Just wow, huh?
It was just wow. I mean, the way it was put together, the first shots of Luke and Han and Leia when like there they are, and
now did the black screen, the black edging on the cockpit of the snow speeder bother you like it bothered George Lucas?
I don't think I noticed it.
Right?
I mean, I am an effects nut, so I do notice things like matte lines and little flaws here or there, little inconsistencies in special effects. And, Empire was not 100% without those. They weren't all perfect, but they were great, though. The walkers and the way they animated them and used the motion control camera, it was great. Motion control was invented to do Star Wars in the first place. The first movie by the ILM studio, which was put together to produce the effects for Star Wars. And they were the first shop of their kind in the industry. The first effects house that specialized in special effects as a company.
Oh, yeah.
Industrial Light and Magic was put together in the first place to do the effects for Star Wars, and they are still the leader of the industry in that whole thing.
Starlog, issue 7. This new movie, Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. And oh no, the whole Hoth battle scene, it was great. It was a great opening to the film.
And Cliff Clavin's in it.
Yeah. And then of course Han's trip through the asteroid field.
Great.
Epic.
The blue TIE fighters.
Yes. And
the Super Star Destroyer.
And of course when they go a little closer to one of the big ones and go into the cavern, they end up inside the stomach of a giant space worm.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. And you don't have to have any of it explained. It's just that thing lived in that giant asteroid. And
what kind of drugs was George on? Because sometimes.
And then, Master Yoda on Dagobah. Frank Oz.
Now, I have a question. Do you think, for all the wonderfulness that Yoda conveyed in this movie, do you think a lot of it or all of it was lost in the prequels about how stupid they were about the Sith plan?
Oh, so much.
Yeah.
What we got from Master Yoda in Empire, and even the little bit that we got in Return of the Jedi,
Impactful?
he was enlightened. He was he was in tune with the Force in a way that,
That Kenobi wasn't?
and was reportedly or has the reputation of being one of the most powerful members of the Jedi ever in the history of the Jedi Order.
Yes.
And
Did the prequels kind of piss all over that?
yeah, because he.
And I'm not a prequel hater. I just want it to be a perfect story. Know your through lines. That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
that's why I'm asking.
There were
questions.
hints, in the Phantom Menace, like Yoda seeing through young Anakin when they were considering him for the Jedi Order, and they turned it down because he's too old, and Yoda sensed much fear in him.
Yeah.
And Yoda was kind of seeing through him, but it wasn't even very effectively portrayed as much as it could have been.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, the way and I'm sorry, but CG Yoda didn't do it for me either. I'd rather have the practical, and they did go back to a practical puppet, and it was better than the CG because CG tech was still
wonky enough
in development, and they weren't really able to get that expressiveness and the detail in him through the CG. And of course, I mean, Frank Oz, man.
Yeah.
His performance as Master Yoda was more than just the voice that it was everything he did with it. He was the puppeteer, and even people who worked on the set said that they were amazed when he put that thing, he put his hand in that puppet and started manipulating it, and it came to life. Because 30 seconds ago, it was just a piece of rubber sitting in the corner.
So,
yeah.
Given that, do you find...
I mean, Frank Oz got so much, real performance out of that thing.
Do you find Roundheaded Johnson's comments from The Last Jedi that he could do this as good as Frank Oz? What do you think about that?
Dude.
Another fucking reason to hate that piece of shit, right?
That just, I mean...
That's offensive, rude.
Even if he meant it as a joke, it was in poor taste. It just,
Extreme.
I'm sorry, no. Oh, because he can make its mouth move. Oh, I can do this as good as Frank Oz. Are you kidding me? And he said it to the man's face?
Yeah. It was
Fuck that guy.
It was one of those
Sorry, but no.
special features.
Fuck that guy, man. Frank Oz, one of the most skilled puppeteers in the world. I mean, he was...
Outside of Jim Henson.
He worked with Jim Henson and the Muppets forever, and he was like Jim Henson's right hand.
Yeah.
Literally many times, where the two of them were sharing the puppetry. I mean, no. No one could do what Frank Oz did with Yoda. And he made all the difference in bringing that character to life in a way that you buy right into it.
All right.
And I don't, you forget he's a puppet.
Yeah.
You do. And it was that good.
So, is Billy D. Williams being Lando in Cloud City, was that a token gesture? Because there were so many white people in the movie.
I never took it that way.
It was just Billy D. fucking Williams, huh?
For one, it's Billy D. Williams.
Right?
So, yeah, I mean...
What the fuck?
It's like taking issue with James Earl Jones being the voice of Darth Vader. Hello? So what?
Right? Well, only childish people like Kevin Smith seem to have a problem with this.
No, because, so what? What color he is? And I never took it that way, that it was like some token addition or representation of some kind that they snuck into it or intentionally put there
Because there was too many white people.
Just for the representation in and of itself.
Yeah.
No. And of course, yeah, it's Billy D. Williams.
What the fuck, right?
So who has a problem with that?
White liberal racists.
It's like, I mean, what if it was Jamie Foxx or anybody else?
Yeah.
So what?
Right?
You know? And no, that it just reinforces that the Rebel Alliance is comprised of all beings who want to overthrow the Empire and restore peace to the galaxy and freedom.
You mean
to be whoever you are?
You mean making the galaxy great again?
Sure, why not?
All right, now we're going to get to the big problem that I now see. That Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father.
Yeah.
And how the prequels kind of mess everything up. And they didn't have to be messed up.
That's another thing, like you mentioned, Luke and Leia were not originally brother and sister.
Yeah.
Luke and Vader were not originally...
No.
I mean, even as of the release of the first film, Lucas hadn't made that decision.
Nope.
It was during the development of Empire and some of the rewrites and revisions that they went through that it occurred to him that, make Vader the fallen Jedi, and even what Obi-Wan said about how Darth Vader betrayed and murdered Anakin Skywalker, that from a certain point of view is what happened.
So,
because Vader took over.
Yeah.
But that was the big revelation. Oh yeah, big shocker. Vader is Luke's father. He's really the Anakin that Obi-Wan was talking about.
Yeah.
That was his friend at one point.
So, with the director, Irvin Kershner.
Yeah.
And that this was a better than Star Wars movie. Do you think that played a part in George Lucas kind of puppeteering?
Yes.
Return of the Jedi?
Yes. And
wrongly so as well.
I do remember seeing an interview with George Lucas shortly after The Empire Strikes Back came out, and he was asked about that. You directed the first film, why didn't you direct this one? And his response was, I hate directing. And he didn't want to be a director. He wanted to be the producer, guy in charge of the entire finished product.
Yeah.
And he didn't really care for dealing with actors, which, as an actor myself, I can understand. Let somebody else do that.
So do you think...
And that was to the benefit of the film.
Yes.
Was that he got a director who could come in and work with the actors for him and free him up from that so he could
and also
have a better look at the bigger picture, which I think was a mistake when he did the prequels.
Yes, because also...
Because he directed them and
he Kershner did tell Lucas off a couple times. There were a couple things that hey, no.
Right, and good for him.
Yeah. For
sticking to his guns on doing his job.
Yes.
In the production. And another little piece of trivia out there about Irvin Kershner. He also directed the Sequest premiere movie.
Oh, yes.
The original 2-hour premiere.
Yes.
Directed by Irvin Kershner. Big sales point there, getting people to tune in. They got me to tune in.
Sort of like What's Your Digger directing Star Trek The Motion Picture.
Yeah.
All right.
Robert Wise.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, the Empire Strikes Back, though, best film of the series. And, what else can you say?
Right? So, tell us what you think about this, about anything, the weather, the last meal you've had. Like, share, and subscribe.